On this episode of Hopeful Romantics, we talk about money and your marriage. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Hopeful Romantics. I'm here with my wonderful wife, Denice.
Hi.
And so we are tackling a big topic today. We're talking about your marriage and money. How do you relate to money in your marriage? How do you have success in your marriage with money?
Money.
Okay,
I couldn't help it.
I tried that note. I didn't want the vocals first. Yes. All right, here we go. We're already off track already, I tell you. All right, so I want to share a few facts first because you know, money is such a divisive topic sometimes in marriages and just in culture, and how do you relate to money? Is money good or bad? And so we're going to dig into some of that, but I want to share some tips on how it relates to money in marriage, first of all.
Right.
First tip is this, stat is this. Money arguments are the second leading cause of divorce behind infidelity. So, number one reason people get divorced is from cheating. Number two is money. Think about that.
That's serious.
That's serious, right?
That's very serious.
It's a serious topic. Number two, nearly half of couples with $50,000 or more in debt say money is their top reason for arguing. So that makes sense, right? They're getting divorced, they're arguing, they're getting divorced. And so there is something about debt, right? And so, and here's the last stat I'll share. Studies say money is the number one topic couples argue about. So number two reason why they get divorced, number one thing they argue about. So it's not just being in debt, but also if you're even not in debt, it's the number one thing that couples argue about on average.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You would never think that money would be such a big topic, but I know based on experience, that's all we can talk about. It is a heavy subject, to talk about. And
it doesn't have to be. Once you get the right tips and the right tools in place, it actually is a thing that can unite you and get you on the same page, and you can share your journey and your desires and your plans with each other.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Open communication, right?
Yes, open communication. So let's talk about why money is so divisive, right? I think there's one word that explains why money is so divisive, Denice. It's stress.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been stressed in our marriage? Let's keep it real. You ever been stressed in our marriage about money?
Well, okay. Can I be honest, though? Okay.
I hope so.
Be honest, right? In the beginning, it's just, and I wouldn't say in the beginning, but there were certain events that would happen that would bring that stress on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've been through some stuff that we're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna eat?
So let's share our testimony with them, because we've shared this testimony with quite a few people that we've mentored one-on-one or we've counseled. And back when we first got married, Denice came from South Africa. I had a pretty good job at that time, and I got laid off, and it was several months before I found a new job.
Yes.
And we had this house. We had a bunch of stuff. We were putting stuff on credit cards. So we didn't have good financial, at least I didn't have good financial principles at that time.
No.
We had a lot of...
both of us didn't, because
that's true.
we were newlyweds, we were newly married, and really we were just trying to find ourselves. I am culture shock, coming to the United States, trying to adjust. He's trying to help me adjust too. And when we went through that season, it was really a long season. It took some time, but we really had open communication though. We talked about stuff, true. We talked about our feelings, and and also just based on the things that I've been through back home, and stuff that I've seen, I could tap into that, and I would think our foundation was the word. We always go to God, we would pray about it, but it was ooh.
And if I give you some kudos, you were so supportive during that time, and that's why I think a lot of marriages get wrecked, because they just can't support each other during the times, because it's goodness. No. I mean, it's sickness and health, it's good times and bad times in marriage. And so the reality is, when those tough times come in financial situations, stress is a big deal. And you have to have that team spirit, that just being solid and being together. So stress is the number one reason that money and marriage can become so divisive, but it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't.
So we found that oftentimes in marriage that for women, money relates to security. And so now tell me, I guess, Denise, like, how have you seen that where money maybe makes you feel secure?
It makes me feel secure in a way that I know my needs are going to be taken care of. I know that whatever I need, he'll provide. If I see money or, finances are in abundance, I know I won't struggle. You know what I mean? Because, when we went through that time, I asked God, like, why did you bring me here? Like, I suffered enough. I am done, But it's just, going through that, knowing who you are and the man that God gave me. Money does, it's security. Like, yeah, I felt a little, whew.
Yeah, and thankfully.
We're doing
And I'm just thinking, thankfully, we bounced back from that. Obviously, I got a new job and worked, and we went through another situation where we lost my job again, and so, but we were able to handle it better because we had built up that infrastructure, where by that time we were completely debt-free. And so we'll talk about some tips that we'll give you from our time, and now we're in a really healthy place with money. We're on one goals. We still have some maybe disagreements on what to do, but for the most part, we're solid though. Yeah. So I'm probably I'm probably the more frugal person a lot of times. Would you say?
Well, no. No.
Tell me about that.
So let me say this. Like, I wouldn't call it frugal because I'm the one that will count the cents, like, okay, let me spend less than whatever. But he's very structured in where we spend the money, So what is important? What's the priorities, So frugal, no. But what's the priorities? Like, what do we need now? I'm just being honest. Like, when you like stuff, you like stuff. And I always tell him, go ahead and buy it. You work so hard. You said, I don't care.
I'm just saying, I feel like, come on now, thank you, YouTube family here. I feel like, you're right, because I definitely, okay, so maybe the word is probably discipline, like, here's the goals, here's the plan.
Yes.
At the same time, I have a few things I like, now that we're in a better place, because back when we were not debt-free and back when we weren't investing the way we are now, I wasn't spending money.
No.
Now, my shoe game is crazy. I wish you could see my shoes right now.
Yeah.
I'll put them on the thing, but I did that, I think, once we were in a more secure place.
Right.
Before then, I wouldn't buy anything.
No.
And there's balance because you have to enjoy life too.
Exactly. Exactly.
Anyways, I spent enough time there. But essentially, a lot of times we see in relationships, women see money as security. Men see money as status. And what does status mean? Not from a prideful standpoint, but the status of I'm taking care of my family. Right? And so a lot of times women may feel stress or feel comfort from a place of security, like my kids are good, I'm good, whether you're both working or one person's working. But men feel the status of like, okay, I am the breadwinner, or even if you're not the breadwinner, I am secure that my family's good. Like I have a status where like my kids know that they're good, my wife knows she's good, like we got this.
Right.
And so when you lose that feeling, then that stress starts to enter. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's where that stress of money can come from, is status and security. Okay.
Right.
Now, we want to share some tools and tips with you guys to master money in your marriage. So we want to make sure that you win with money in your marriage, and we're not going to make this long. If you want more resources and more tools, let us know on anchor.fm/hopefulromantics. Leave a listen or voicemail and say, hey, DJ Denice, we want to learn more about money. We want to hear more from you. We can even make some resources and put it on our website.
Right.
So again, just make sure you communicate with us. We'll have on our YouTube page, we'll have notes, we'll have our website listed, we'll have everything you need to make sure that you can win with money.
Absolutely.
So here's our first tip. The first tip is open communication, right? So when it comes to money in marriage, like anything in marriage, you have to communicate.
Right.
But especially with money.
And that has been our theme. It's just like you got to communicate about everything. When you talk about money, what are your goals, right? Because when you were single and you were alone, you had your job, you were working towards your goals. But that's when you were single, and now you're married. You guys have to talk about what are your goals together. Okay, when you were single, you had that dream of traveling the world, seeing places, doing this. Okay, how can we make that happen with the two of us together? How can we make things happen when you had your goals, I had my goals? How do we make it together for ourselves, to get, and I think it's important to just be open, just share things, because you don't want to reveal things years from now, when you guys already started working on your goals, you started working, you're like, oh, by the way,
I've always wanted to do this.
That's what I do. I feel you holding me back. We need money for that. No, from the get go, open communication, and my husband knew, DJ knew, I like shopping, and I told him that I like shopping. Okay, I do, and so I was honest with him, but. When we sat down and we communicated about our goals, I knew at that time I just couldn't go shopping. But I also knew that based on what we were planning for our future, that would be a time that I could go shopping and not think about it. Right.
And I think that, you make a good point. That's why communication is so key. It's because if we're both talking, then we can be on the same page, and then it doesn't feel like I'm telling you, no, Denice, you can't go shopping. It's why are we not shopping extra right now? It's because we agree we're going this direction.
Exactly.
And so you have a game plan, you have a strategy, you're one team.
Right.
I think also sharing about your I guess expectations, right?
Yes.
Like, do you expect to buy a new handbag every month? Do you expect to travel every year somewhere exotic? And so, I mean, if that's in your budget, that's great.
That's good. Shoot,
but
go.
To your point, it shouldn't be a surprise where you're like, oh, you know what? We always, me and my family, we always go to Bali.
Right. Why can't I go now?
We always go to Cape Town. What do you mean? And so that expectation.
Exactly. Always talk, communicate, and be honest. Really be honest. Like I couldn't. He knew. Like and that's when we had those, gentle. I call it gentle arguments. Like, no, I do like this. This is what I like. But when I saw our goals and where we'd be from that time in 10 years or 5 years, I bought into that, and I trusted him. I bought into, okay, this is our dream, this is our goals, this is what I want to do. I know I can, and I'm happy I did. So you got to buy it into the plan, and stick to it,
And that's a great point, Denice. Look at your short-term goals financially. So maybe it's this month, how do we want to spend our money? Maybe we realize we're overspending on eating out. This month, we're going to control this spending. What are your long-term goals? Okay, in the next year, where do we want to be? Maybe we want to get out of debt, or maybe we want to pay off this credit card, and we want to invest in this, right?
Exactly.
And so you start to talk about, what are my short-term goals? And then 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do we see ourselves?
Exactly.
That's what you want to communicate. And that's a great segue to our next point that you mentioned about this, trusting the plan. Number 2 thing is there has to be a financial leader between the two of you, right? Well, and so, again, as Christians, sometimes we think that, well, you know what, the man is the head of the house. And so that means that he's supposed to
assumption that we
automatically be the financial leader. But a lot of men are terrible financially. And so the advice and the tip that we have for you is figure out who is the better person financially and have them lead it, right? Part of being a head of a household is being able to delegate and recognize who's best at what thing.
Exactly. And that's true, because I have so many friends, girls, that's really strong in finances. They know how to budget. They know how to use different tools, accessible. And so it's just, for me, I would just think that, when they meet the husband or the man, that go ahead and let her lead, because you guys will do it together. For me, I know I'm the free spirit. I'm the free bird. Like when I was alone, I did my budget. I did good, but I have a husband that's really, really good in it, and it's much better, because when I was alone, I had to do it. I had nobody else to do it for me. Otherwise, I'd be in trouble. But he's the better one. He's the leader, and so go ahead.
And again, that goes back to communication and just making sure you're communicating and knowing who's better, right? You don't know who's better with it. Again, I love budgeting. That's why I call myself the more frugal person, because I love squeezing every penny, every dollar, everything out of it. And so making sure that every dollar has a place where it goes, and making sure that it's just, I don't know.
And I love that about you. Like, I don't like the conversations, but I love the fact that he's so passionate about it, and passionate seeing us at a better place, not now, but in the future.
Right.
And that makes me trust him so much more. So,
Okay. So again, tip number 1 is open communication. Tip number 2 is establish a financial leader within your relationship. The third tip is this: we want to make sure that we are putting the right tools and resources around you.
Exactly.
So what does that mean? There are all types of resources and tools that you can use to help manage your finances. The thing that worked for us early on was a man that makes Denice, it's a name that makes Denice shudder. Look, you can see a reaction. I haven't said the name yet. His name is Dave Ramsey. Okay, now, see that face?
Uncle Dave. That's
Uncle
what
Dave,
I
that's what we
call
call him.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, so for us, coming from different countries, different backgrounds,
Yes.
I grew up middle class, and so we had everything that we needed, a lot of the things we wanted. We weren't rich by any means, and so Denice had a different experience in South Africa growing up, right? And so we had to all get on the same page,
Right.
financially. Like,
Right.
okay, why can't we drive a Mercedes right now? Why shouldn't we go and buy this thing on debt, right? And so Dave
Yes.
Ramsey, now you may not be a Dave Ramsey fan, and that's totally fine. We're saying that was a tool that we use and a resource we
That worked
used
for us.
that worked for us, right? And so we applied that plan. It gave us a game
Right.
plan. It gave us the time to communicate.
Exactly.
And we went forward. We got out of debt. We built up
Yeah.
an emergency fund. We started saving up 3 to 6 months of our income.
Right.
We followed the plan. Then we started investing 15% of
Exactly.
our resources into investments, into retirement accounts.
Right.
We started paying down things, started investing in college. And
Right.
all of a
It's
sudden,
just-
yeah.
It helped us with our money matters, and so for me, Uncle Dave, I didn't like, I really didn't, because I'm like, why should I do that? I don't want to do that. However, when we sat down and when that first time when he lost his job, we were in a terrible place.
Yeah.
Terrible place. And there was really no coming around, because it was a place where you throw the bowls in the middle and like, oh, which one landed? That's the one
Which
that's
one
going to get
lands
paid. Really, too, when it happened again, when you did lose your job again, we're in a better position. So it really is, again, buying in your plan. Dave Ramsey might not work for anybody. It worked for us. It put us in a really good position. We ate rice and beans for a while. It was delicious. Rice and beans and rice. And I think also one thing that we should mention is bring the person in, especially the free-spirited person.
Yeah.
Because Dave Ramsey talks about being the free-spirited person. I am that one. And so DJ would always bring like, let's have money matters meetings. So that's one of the things that you guys talk about it. And we will talk. It was harsh when literally, I couldn't do my nails. I couldn't go do my nails because we had a plan. I went to the dollar store. For those living in the United States, it's a place where everything costs $1. Yes. And I went and bought nail polish. It was okay for me. I didn't cry about it. Why? Because we had money matters meeting. I cried in the meeting. But I knew our goals and I knew it. And I'm so happy. Can I just say this, that I'm happy that it was tough talking about it, because it is money and I want stuff and I wanted to buy stuff. But I'm happy that I listened, because life is so much better now, because we sacrifice. It is okay to sacrifice. It is okay to say no to something. If you don't have the money, don't buy it. And that's one thing that I love about Dave Ramsey. Like, if you don't have it, don't get it.
Right, that makes sense. And so, Denice, thank you for sharing, because there's a lot of people watching right now like, oh, I hate talking about budgeting. I hate talking about money. I don't like it. Well, Denice was that person. Like, I just want to spend. I don't want to think about it. With me, I was more so what they call in the program a nerd. I had I had a whole Excel spreadsheet and budget and tools and plans. And so typically in a marriage, you find that where there's one free spirit and one nerd. And so the nerd should be the one typically who's managing the finances. But it's important for the nerd to bring along the free spirit, because otherwise it feels like I'm telling you what to do. And that creates that conflict and stress.
Yes.
So we just want to do that. Let's keep moving on. So we talked about Dave Ramsey that worked for us, but there's lots of plans. Yeah. Just Google and find out.
Find something that works for you. Yeah.
Number 2 is this: find a financial planner or a CPA or a coach. Right. So that's another tool you can use. And so I think a challenge people often have is they think that, oh, well, we don't have much money, so we don't need a financial planner. No, you need a financial planner even more to dictate those dollars and tell you where to go and what to do.
Exactly.
So we got a financial planner, learning about Roth IRAs, learned about your 401k at work, all these different tools, a CPA, so you have someone who helps you with accounting. Once you get to a certain place, like, if you have, $10, you don't need a CPA, maybe, you can just manage that yourself.
Right. And I would also just, say to the couples there that's, getting married and, just starting their lives, do this now. Do this now to plan, because 10 years from today, you will thank yourself that you actually had these meetings. You talked about the money. And it's a good conversation. Go out for coffee and have the conversation. It doesn't have to be so serious. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, Denice.
Stuff so serious, and it's not. Just get on board. You guys two shall become one. When I decided to become one with DJ, that's it. That's our plans. It's not DJ's plan. It's not my plan, but it's our plans now. So money matters.
Money matters. So here's the last tip. Make sure that you find some tools, right? So maybe if you don't have a budget, if you want it, let us know on Instagram. Follow me, follow Denice. DM us and say, hey, do you have a budget I can use? We can put that on our website. Mm-hmm. We can give you the official Hopeful Romantics budget. That sounds exciting to me, the nerd. I'm going to give you an Excel spreadsheet with all this stuff. But essentially, there's all types of free tools out there. There's bank accounts that'll take like the money that you don't spend on, say, a cup of tea, say it's 99 cents, and it's, it'll take an extra penny around it.
Right. I have a bunch of tools that you can get money back when you spend it, and I love it because at the end of the day, I just withdraw from it and I buy presents with that money.
So there you go. So make the system work for you.
Right, exactly.
That's just a little bit on about how to find some success with money in your marriage. That works for us. So again, finding people to help be a resource for you.
Yes.
Maybe finding a game plan and finding the tools to help you balance it all. But the main thing is communication, honesty, respect, and getting on one page.
Yes. Getting on one. Two shall become one in your finances as well.
So that's it for this episode. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode. We hope you learned something from it. This wasn't as fun. I know that, usually Denice is laughing and having fun, but this is a serious one. If we know that money is the number 2 reason why people get divorced, then we have to dig into it. We have to talk about it because we want you to be hopeful about your relationship. And you can't be hopeful if you're stressing about money.
No, you cannot. And the reason why I make it fun for myself is because it's not so hectic. It's not that serious, really. Money is serious, but really it's not that serious. It's okay if I can't buy something. It's okay because I understand our goals. So get on board with each other. Have a plan. Pray about your plan. Let me say that. That's a good one. Pray about your plan. Invite the Holy Spirit. Invite God to put His hand over it. Also, one other thing that, Christian, if you give your tithes, you allow the Lord to just bless your finances. You'd rather be blessed with 90% than have that 100% just cursed. So I just felt like I needed to say that, in all your planning and everything you do, make sure that you give your tithes.
There you go. You got it straight from Pastor Denice. We'll pay them tithes.
You know what?
So on that note, we're gonna end our show, but we hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, follow us on Instagram. Our handles will be right in the show notes.
Yes.
Anchor.fm/Hopeful Romantics. I'm gonna say that one more time. Anchor.fm/Hopeful Romantics. We love you and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.